Stacey Castor, born Stacey Daniel on July 24th, 1967, in New York, met her first husband, Michael Wallace, in 1985 when she was 17 years old. The couple married and welcomed their first daughter, Ashley. 3 years later, in 1988, they had their second daughter, Bree. They lived in a small town called Weedsport, New York. Stacey worked at an ambulance dispatch company, while Michael was a mechanic. Despite their hard work, the family struggled financially. At home, Michael seemed closer to and somewhat favored their younger daughter, while Stacey was more attached to their older daughter, Ashley. Though deeply devoted to their children, Stacey and Michael's relationship grew increasingly strained. By November 1999, considering divorce, Stacey confided in a friend that she wanted to leave Michael, but decided to wait until after Christmas to avoid upsetting the children, planning to proceed with the divorce in the new year. However, in December 1999, Michael Wallace suddenly fell ill. He frequently felt dizzy and spent most of his time lying in bed or on the sofa. Michael visited a doctor and described feeling as if he were drunk, despite not drinking a drop. The doctor diagnosed an ear infection and prescribed medication. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1999, Michael attended Christmas dinner at his mother's house. His family was alarmed by his rapidly deteriorating health. His face and limbs were swollen, but when asked if he was okay, Michael brushed it off, saying he wasn't feeling great, but thought it was just a cold, nothing serious. Michael was gravely mistaken. On January 11th, 2000, Ashley came home from school and saw her father lying on the sofa as usual. She suddenly heard him make a strange sound. He raised his arm and then lowered it. That was the last time Michael moved. Ashley approached and noticed her father's feet had turned purple. Panicked, she called her mother. Michael was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Doctors believed he died of a heart attack. However, to determine the exact cause of death, an autopsy was needed. Stacey refused, stating that Michael wouldn't want to be cut open and that an autopsy would disrespect his soul. Stacey told everyone that Michael would want them to be happy and move on rather than mourn his death. Indeed, Stacey never shed a tear after her husband's passing. Ashley always thought her mother didn't cry because she didn't want her daughters to see her in pain. The truth about Michael's death seemed buried with him. Now a widow with 2 young daughters, Stacey received $55,000 from her husband's life insurance policy. After renovating the house, she took her daughters on trips and gradually returned to being a cheerful, attentive mother. Stacey was also ready for a new relationship. In 2001, in the town of Liverpool, New York, David Castor owned an air conditioning installation company. His business was thriving. Recently divorced, his only son lived with his ex-wife. David enjoyed a comfortable life in a large, well-appointed home. Then, David met Stacey, a woman he saw as a loving mother to her 2 young daughters. Their relationship developed quickly. However, Ashley and Bree didn't like David at all. They didn't want anyone to replace their father so soon. On August 16th, 2003, less than 2 years after meeting, David and Stacey married, to the shock of many. Strangely, none of David's family, not even his parents or son, were invited to the wedding. Stacey Wallace became Stacey Castor, and she and her daughters moved to live with David in Liverpool. Their quality of life improved significantly in material terms. However, Ashley and Bree refused to accept their stepfather, leading to constant family tension. Despite this, David was patient with the girls, treating them as his own. Gradually, Ashley and Bree warmed to their stepfather's affection and began to open up to him. Ironically, while the relationship between the girls and their stepfather improved, Stacey and David's marriage deteriorated. Arguments became more frequent. Tensions peaked when David suspected Stacey of having an affair. One afternoon in August 2005, Stacey called the sheriff's office, reporting that her husband had locked himself in their bedroom after an argument. He had been in there all day, refusing to open the door, and there were no sounds from inside. Stacey mentioned that David had recently shown signs of depression.
Communications, can I help you?
My name is Stacey Castor. My husband has locked himself in our bedroom for the last day. I'm just getting a little concerned because I haven't talked to him since 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday when he locked me out of the bedroom.
She explained that she and David had argued for 7 hours the previous day. According to Stacey, David had been drinking heavily, then took a bottle of liquor into the room, locked himself inside, and refused to come out.
Has he ever mentioned hurting himself or harming himself?
Well, Friday night when we were arguing, he told me to get out, take my kids and get out. I could leave, and then 5 minutes later he said if I left he would make me sorry. I would be sorry if I ever left.
Police arrived at the house and broke down the door, discovering David dead, completely naked. On a bedside table was a small glass containing a green liquid, half full. Nearby were a bottle of liquor and a bottle of juice. Police also found an open bottle of antifreeze on the floor. Initially, the scene suggested David had deliberately consumed a lethal dose of antifreeze after locking himself in. However, another officer noticed a turkey baster, a kitchen tool used to siphon juices from a roasting turkey to keep it moist and flavorful, in the kitchen trash. Typically, someone intending to end their life wouldn't do so naked. Sensing something was amiss, police collected evidence for forensic analysis. Results showed Stacey's fingerprints on the glass containing antifreeze and the handle of the turkey baster, while David's DNA was found on the baster's tip. Police suspected Stacey had used the baster to force David to drink the poison and staged his death. They obtained a warrant to check Stacey's phone and discovered searches related to antifreeze and poisoning methods. Additionally, just before David's death, he had removed his son from his previous marriage from his will, leaving all assets to Stacey. Investigators monitored Stacey's home and the graves of her 2 deceased husbands, who were buried side by side at Stacey's request. Detectives believed that if Stacey truly loved her late husbands, she would visit their graves. However, Stacey never did. Investigators concluded that the only way to prove Stacey's responsibility for both deaths was to exhume Michael Wallace's body. They obtained a warrant, and toxicology tests revealed Michael had also been poisoned with antifreeze. In September 2007, Stacey panicked as suspicions about her husband's deaths mounted. Upon learning that police had exhumed Michael's body and found antifreeze traces, Stacey devised a dark and despicable plan no one could have imagined. On Ashley's first day of college, investigators visited her school to question her about Michael's death, informing her he had been poisoned. Confused and emotional, Ashley called her mother.
Hello?
Mommy, they came to my freaking school.
They came to your school? Are you okay?
I'm gonna be okay, but I'm really freaking out right now.
Oh my God. That bastard came to your school. Do you want me to come and get you?
No, I have to be here.
All right, calm down and go back to class, all right?
I love you.
I love you too.
Soon after, Stacey invited Ashley to their Liverpool home to drink together. Ashley agreed, as Stacey was not only her mother, but also her best friend.
We've had a rough week, let's just get drunk. I was like, cool, you know? What kind of teenager wouldn't think that was awesome? When parents just gave you permission to drink.
The next day, Stacey continued to encourage Ashley to drink, offering her a beverage with a terrible taste that Ashley initially refused. However, at Stacey's insistence, Ashley reluctantly drank it. 17 hours later, Bree found Ashley unconscious on her bed, surrounded by vomit and unresponsive. In a panic, Bree urged her mother to call 911. Once again, the police received an emergency call from Stacey.
I need an ambulance.
What's the problem?
My daughter, I believe, has taken some pills.
Is she conscious?
Yes, she's normal. I'm leaning over her. Ashley is having trouble, I think. It sounds like there's something in her throat. Ashley. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, this is not happening.
Is that her?
Oh, she's throwing up.
Turn her on her side.
She left a letter.
What? She left a letter?
Left a note.
Police arrived at Stacey's home. In Ashley's bedroom, they found a box of painkillers and a bottle of vodka. Stacey claimed Ashley had been drinking and implied she had intentionally overdosed. Next to Ashley was a suicide note in which she confessed to killing her father and stepfather. Stacey quickly handed the note to paramedics. Fortunately, thanks to the doctor's efforts, Ashley was saved. Tests revealed a high dose of painkillers in her system, potentially fatal if she hadn't reached the hospital in time. When Ashley regained consciousness, police questioned her about the murders and the suicide note. She said the last thing she remembered was her mother preparing an alcoholic drink for her, something her mother had never done before. Ashley insisted she didn't write the note and was confused by the police's questions. Over 2 years, investigators gathered evidence against Stacey. In 2007, Stacey was arrested for second-degree murder in David's case and for attempting to murder and frame her daughter Ashley. The suicide note, written on Ashley's computer, In court, Ashley testified that she didn't kill her father or stepfather and hadn't written the suicide note. Police believed Stacey used the turkey baster to force her husband to drink antifreeze, then staged the scene. They concluded that money was a primary motive for Stacey's murders. She sought life insurance payouts and inheritance. Just before David's death, she forged his will to exclude his son from the inheritance. On March 10th, 2009, Stacey was convicted of second-degree murder. She received 25 years for David's murder and another 25 years for attempting to murder Ashley. For forging the will, Stacey was sentenced to 7 years. The judge stated he had never seen a mother attempt to kill her own child to frame them for her crimes, declaring Stacey a uniquely heinous criminal. During the trial, Ashley told the judge she hated her mother for ruining many lives, but still loved her because she was her mother.
I hate my mother for ruining so many people's lives. I didn't even know why she did it. And I hate her for having me be the one that found my dad. Just like her for having Bree found me. Even though I do hate her, I still love her at the same time. How can you hate someone and love them at the same time?
Ashley only wanted an apology from her mother. However, Stacey never apologized to anyone.
Up until David Castor's death, what signs did you see
Of Ashley?
of Ashley's mental illness?
As I said, after Ashley's father died, she had withdrawn. She became distant. She spent a lot of time alone.
She insisted Ashley had mental issues and was guilty. In the years following the sentencing, Ashley chose to live happily rather than let past pain consume her. She refused to let hatred take over her heart. Instead, embracing forgiveness and unconditional love for the good people still by her side. She lived with a heart full of hope, choosing to do good as a way to affirm that despite all the challenges life threw at her, she would keep moving forward.